Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau apologized regarding the Parliament's recognition of a Ukrainian Nazi soldier during last week's address by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. The Speaker of the Parliament has also resigned from his post. Carlo Dela Peña reports.
On behalf of the Canadian Parliament, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau apologized for the embarrassing celebration of a Ukrainian Nazi veteran, referring to last week's incident that saw the entire chamber applaud 98-year-old Yaroslav Hunka. The apology came in response to a question by opposition leader Pierre Poilievre on whether Trudeau would take personal responsibility and apologize on his behalf for what happened.
Mr. Speaker, it was the personal responsibility of the Prime Minister to invite President Zelenskyy to the floor of this House of Commons. It was his personal responsibility to make sure it was a diplomatic success. It was his personal responsibility to continue to lead the government that has the security, intelligence, and diplomatic agencies that could have and should have vetted all individuals who were present and recognized. That's right. Yet this Prime Minister allowed for a monumental, unprecedented, and global shame to unfold in this chamber. Will he take personal responsibility for this shame and personally apologize on behalf of himself?
Right. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of all of us in this House, I would like to present unreserved apologies for what took place on Friday and to President Zelenskyy and the Ukrainian delegation for the position they were put in. For all of us who were present to have unknowingly recognized this individual was a terrible mistake and a violation of the memory of those who suffered grievously at the hands of the Nazi regime.
Trudeau also stated his sorries in a media briefing in Ottawa and recognized the diplomatic damage done to the visiting delegation of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
This was a mistake that has deeply embarrassed Parliament and Canada. All of us who were in this House on Friday regret deeply having stood and clapped, even though we did so unaware of the context. It was a horrendous violation of the memory of the millions of people who died in the Holocaust, and it was deeply, deeply painful for Jewish people. It also hurt Polish people, Roma people, 2S LGBTQI+ people, disabled people, racialized people, and the many millions who were targeted by the Nazi genocide. I also want to reiterate how deeply sorry Canada is for the situation this put President Zelenskyy and the Ukrainian delegation in.
The Canadian Prime Minister also accused Russia and its supporters of politicizing the issue by providing false propaganda about what Ukraine is fighting for. To recall, last week, following an address by Zelenskyy, Canadian Parliament Speaker Anthony Rota lauded veteran soldier Yaroslav Hunka as a Ukrainian-Canadian war hero who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russian aggressors back then. That time, Hunka received 2 standing ovations. This incident caused international outrage after it was pointed out by various Jewish organizations and human rights groups, among others, that Hunka was actually a Nazi soldier who served in a military unit known as the 14th Waffen Grenadier Division of the SS, or the 1st Galician, a Nazi SS organization declared as a criminal organization by the International Military Tribunal in Nuremberg in 1946. Meanwhile, Rota publicly apologized shortly after the fallout and resigned from his post. Aside from Jewish groups, Poland and Russia were also outraged by the incident. Poland's Minister of Education has published a letter saying that he is taking steps to extradite Hunka. Russian Ambassador to Canada Oleg Stepanov meanwhile said his country is reviewing the incident and that the Russian government may open a criminal case in a subsequent extradition request. He also said that Trudeau's apology is not enough and that Canada should find the courage to apologize directly to the Russian people. According to the envoy, there are more than 200,000 Canadians of Russian descent. It can be noted that Russia is part of the Allied forces that fought Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany and the Axis powers during the World War II. Stepanov claimed that Russia was the main force in defeating Nazi Germany during World War II and experienced devastating losses in order to win. Reporting, this has been Carlo Dela Peña, SMNI News.